So we were taking the session of forms and fields, and we were supposed to continue from here. So fields overview. There are the field types used to create expense report. The expense entry field used by the expense entry form. Each expense entry or expense type may contain fields that the employee must complete. 40 custom and 6 org unit fields are available as entry field. Expense report header field used by expense report header form. These fields are displayed to employee as the first step towards creating the expense reports, such as project code, report name, or purpose. 20 custom and 6 org unit fields are available as header field. So we checked into what is the expense entry, expense form, and what are the fields available, what new custom fields we can add, and all that. So that part is over. Expense header, there are a lot of fields that we had seen earlier for expense report, for many other things as well. So in this case, it is mentioned that it will display project code, report name or purpose, and with 20 custom and 6 org unit. So we can add more fields using the custom field. And if you want to add organizations, we can add as organize org unit, which is available. And fields overview, these fields are used outside the expense report to gather additional data on expense. Expense car field used by the car registration form presented in profile and to the user administrator in administration. These fields are used to gather additional data about company or personal cars that will be used in mileage entries. So this is about expense car field. There are additional field, a specific form itself is available for car registration that can be part of the profile, and it will be available to the user administration in the user administrator in the user administration. And these fields are used to gather additional data about the company or the personal car that will be used in mileage entries. So basically, say suppose we use a particular car for some of the trips which are not very far, then to collect the mileage entry, we use that and we add it as part of our profile. So for that specific form is there, car registration form. These fields are used in user administration to gather employee data, that is employee field, used by expense and invoice setting section of user details page. So this employee field is used by, as I mentioned, expense and invoice settings, and expense and invoice settings of the user details page. These fields are displayed to the administrator as part of the user creation process. 20 custom and 6 org unit fields are available as employee field. So, okay, let me get into the system. I'm just trying to log in. Give me a second. Okay, so I will switch the screen. Say suppose we have a profile field here, settings here, and then in the profile settings we have so many settings possible. In that, as per the forms and fields, we are modifying our company vehicle configuration. So that's what I was trying to do. So what I did, I went into the vehicle configuration, and then now, yeah, it's showing two. So I will do one thing. I will, let's say, same vehicle, and it is company vehicle you are using. You just have to enter the mileage while expensing the trip. And you can also provide an option. By default, you can use the company. Let's modify this company preferred card, then you can save this. So since it is preferred, you will be, you know, first check with the organization whether this vehicle is available. Then you can take this one. Otherwise, if you have your personal vehicle, you can take it. In any case, they will either calculate the mileage or the fuel, how much fuel we put into the car. We will have receipt, so you can submit the receipt for the fuel. So that's what it is mentioned here. Okay. Oh, okay, I'm just going and sharing the presentation. Field configuration information. Since the system uses the fields in forms, you must complete the configuration option for fields before you configure the forms. Actually, as we know, now in any normal application, we internally we use a form to fill or add fields to it, right? Say, suppose, information gathering form where user provide user information and then they click save, this data gets saved in the database. So here also more or less the same. We have a form with multiple configurable fields. So we need to configure the field first, then to configure the form. Below are some considerations that you should consider as you decide on fields. While the data type is configurable for custom fields, you cannot change the configuration options once you have used the field on a form. Best practice is to not allow personal, sensitive, or uniquely identifying information in a custom field. This is important. Everything should be related to your company, your trip kind of information. You cannot use your personal data. You can use a field on multiple forms. If a field is used on multiple forms, the purpose of the field should be consistent across all the forms that you utilize in the field. So, say suppose a particular field, say org unit, can be used in a header form. Various forms are available. So then if you add it into all the forms, then it will be consistent across all the forms that utilizes the field. If a field serves multiple purposes, extracting data for business intelligence or integration would get cumbersome and complicated. A field that serves the same purpose in two forms could be assigned to a different label in each form. For example, multinational company has a common general ledger. However, the US employee refers to an 8-digit section of GL as the org unit, while the UK employees refer the same section of GL as the cost center. So, in the form, we can add organizational unit as a custom field as well as in the form 2 cost center, but it refers to the same general ledger. First digit, first in that 8-digit section will be considered as an organizational unit, while in UK refers to the same section of the GL center, that is the 8-digit section will be considered as the cost center. A field configuration information. When you use a field on more than one form, it can have different field access properties on each form. If a particular field should be ready only on one form but modifiable in other cases, it is possible. This is possible scenario when groups in an implementation have slightly different requirement. For example, perhaps one group needs to cross charge expenses and another group does not. On one form, the applicable fields for cross charging could be modifiable, and on the other they could be read only. When a field is added to a form, it has default attributes. If the administrator changes the default attribute on the field tab after a field has been added to a form, the form field may or may not be updated. It talks about the form field overview details. For this
And
reason,
sorry, Binu. And who does this field configuration or updates?
actually by default we would get the field uh, field update. However, this I showed, so I'll show you again. We can also do the field change. One second, I stop share. I can share.
Because we are here the administrator. So that's
Correct.
why we do not have to configure things.
Actually, you can modify the
Hmm.
fields. For example, we have limited access, so I am showing it in expense and in invoice settings. Both we tried it out, but still since you were
Yeah,
not
sorry,
there.
I was not there. I didn't join it.
So for that, what you should do is go to expense types for expenses, and if you scroll down on the right side, you see edit expense form settings. Okay, switch to that. This is switching. So this is for expense type, expense. This is the expense form as well as the
Hmm.
attendee form is possible. So in the first section, this provides various expense type which we can't modify because we will be doing it in the previous screen. But expense type, whether say suppose airfare, expense type goes for a airfare, ticket tax, airline
Hmm.
fees, all that. And in that scenario, do you want to add business purpose? Earlier,
Hmm.
it used to be optional, but what we did, we added it as required because normally in a trip, we would mention what is the business purpose.
Hmm.
And another important part is even if this is optional, say suppose this is optional, it is okay, but the vendor description is mandatory because you need to mention which airline you are traveling, right? So
Hmm.
that is why the vendor description is required. And city, we put it hidden, so we won't be able to see that. And comment, we put it optional. So these
Okay.
are the fields we can actually modify for our expense type. We make say save, and we go to the account code. As I said earlier, account code says we are working with the actual, application along with the finance team. Then your
Hmm.
GL code here, account code will change. They will provide you what code to be put for airline breakfast and everything,
Hmm.
employee discount, all those information. So here what we did here, you can only change the GL code or account code, I would say that we can change. And then we go to the expense form. We are in the expense form.
Yeah, attendee forms.
Yeah, we can go. This is one at a time. We can. So this is the same as what we saw earlier in the expense type. And then we go to the attendees form. Basically, this is nothing pretty much like what you give your first name earlier. It was last name required, but the first name was
Okay.
optional. So we made it to a first name required. Attendee's title is not mandatory, so we put it to optional. But the company name was optional, so I put it to required. So
Okay.
this is the default attendee form, and there are some other forms available, but we don't have enough authorization to do the forms and fields.
Hmm.
That's why I'm covering the presentation. So
Hmm. Hmm.
whatever is possible, I'm showing it to you. So this is
But
how
like this, we can modify the fields.
exactly
Okay.
you
Okay.
can. And one more thing I can show is if I go back, expense type for expenses. Here you can add new expense type
Okay.
like fuel types, GL code, category, or car. Let me check whether car related. Yeah, it is there. Car related, and this is not required. How flexible limit is applicable to each country. So I saves this. So this fuel type is added here. Then I can go to the expense form settings. You can see the field I added. Car related fuel for mileage is shown.
Fuel types.
Yes. So that is car related. So
Hmm.
that is available here. So likewise, if you add, it will come into your expense form. You
Hmm.
can modify the other options like this is a limited option is
Hmm.
possible, but at least that is possible for us to do the form modification.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
And one more, yeah, one more thing is we can also modify. Okay, we go to the invoice advanced settings. Here we have expense type for invoices. So this is the you can add expense type here. So these are the expense types available, and you can also modify that.
Hmm.
And then the spend type is various types of spend is possible. All these are like related, say suppose advertising, comes under. Okay, let's take office equipment.
Mm.
So office equipment, it will be supply. Okay, so office supplies.
So based on the business needs, we can add, deactivate, activate,
Yes,
or
exactly.
change the spend category also that this expense will now come under this category.
Yeah,
And so
correct.
on. Yes.
So you can add a new one. Say, suppose we added, we can add tablets or rather say laptop.
Medical,
Sorry,
medical we can, right? Medical expenses. Can we?
medical expense is not allowed here. This is about our trip, right? So whatever is mainly and yeah, it also adds other things as well, marketing, supplies. So I think medical is
Okay,
possible.
Bill.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's add medical. Apply. I don't think we will have an option here for medical. Say insurance. It should be medical insurance or it should be vehicle insurance. Even trip insurance is also there. And you save it, it get added here. You can search medical. You can see that medical is got added and it is active at the moment. You can make it deactive. Then what will happen is this is applicable for all the groups. So if you deactivate, it will be deactivated for all the groups.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
So you can remove it and you can import. Import is nothing but we have we have got the template here. So in the template there is a format. As per the format, you can add your expense type and this was open. One second, I'll just it'll be in my downloads. This one opened yesterday, so let's try that. Okay, it'll be like this. Whether you want to delete, activate, policy group, expense type, name, account code, and spend category. In that, the red color, which means they are mandatory fields we have to provide. So delete, you can say delete yes, activate yes, invoice policy group global, expense type name we can give, account number or account name we have to provide, and which uh, this one belongs to which category we can provide. So earlier what we did is like say CS. Oh, this is enable. I should enable editing. Yes, yes. Global expense type. Fuel type. Oh, this is the expense. Yeah, correct. Type account GL code.
I see your still screen is still stuck.
How? Because do one thing, I'll share my entire screen so it won't be a problem. Okay, so now you can see my screen, right? So I was working here and spend category for fuel type is car related.
I think it's still on invoice expense type screen, medical insurance screen. Not sure
I
for others.
I shared everything. I don't know why. Once again, I'll share the entire screen. Tell me if you see the Concur app
Yes, yes.
and Excel.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, so what I did was I actually added the types like this. So I added only one. You can add multiple and then come here and import it into the expense invoice expense type. So these are the main ones. And then it was talking about the configuration fields, right? So these are the custom fields. You can
Mhm.
add custom field. So say suppose what we added. Okay, let's say medical or there is an another type fuel types. I just want to show the list category. Oh, it's already there. So we can't add it. No problem. I'll just come here. This was added earlier. So manage list. If you go here, I did add diesel, and I can also add petrol G code. This was not allowing me to add for some reason. Or you can import them from a sheet. So you click here to download, and then just suppose I download this. This will change now. Oh, I'm not able to directly open it from there. So I'll have to go to downloads. So this is not in the right format. Select the appropriate option. I think open with Excel. Choose. So this is basically this will be open using Excel, but I'm not getting Excel here. So I cancel this. Once so this says to download a list import template. Click on this link. Select the appropriate menu option to save the file to your computer. Open the file using Excel, Microsoft Excel. Maybe we can change the extension which make the file work. Open the file using Microsoft Excel. You can use this template to either enter the data to be imported or as a guide for how to format the data to be imported. Note, the maximum number of the list item per import is 1000. To import more than 1000 list items, you can create and import multiple files where each file has no more than 1000 list items in it. List that has less than 1000 items will automatically be downloaded in the import template. To upload a list import sheet, click browse button. As usual, earlier we downloaded. Now we are going to upload. So once we locate the import file, open, select this field and choose. This is not the one, but I'm just saying go to the corresponding location and click upload. So just says this is not going to work, but Microsoft Excel. So I should have had an Excel file selected. Now this is coming as Excel. I'm selecting and I'm uploading it. One list item was successfully processed. Zero list item failed. Okay, validation is failed. So what this shows is, let's go back. Now this turned out to be, oh, I think I imported this one. Okay, so this is DCell and GL code. I can actually upload this as petrol and GL code. It would get added there. That's why this is not showing. And it showed one upload successful because the diesel is got uploaded. The fuel type will be as of now only diesel. Okay, maybe we can try it out, that import part. I just go here, delete. I think we have to give, oh, this has to be enable editing, delete petrol L, yeah. Then I save, I come here, I can upload. Okay, correct. What I thought was right. This was not, this was yes. Yes, and this also yes. Okay, I just saved and I will go back and I try importing and upload your data. Okay, two items were successfully processed. We don't have any item field. So when we come here, just refresh.
So we can do this for multiple expense type, and we
Yes,
can like you do and yes, yes for deleting those, and we can keep some of them. Like
yeah, but it said it added two items, but it is not showing. Go back.
it added or it deleted.
It it should have been added, and it also gave an successful response. However, it the field got lost. Yeah, the data is not there. Oh, I got it. You know what I did? If you have noticed, you would have got it.
Delete, yes, yes.
Correct.
Yeah, that's why it got
Right.
deleted.
Right. So I should I didn't.
I thought you wanted to delete them.
No, I didn't want to delete. Actually, it was a mistake from my side. Now, when we import the file, import, update your data. sorry, upload your data. 2 items are uploaded. When we come here, we need to refresh. It is only showing one. Why?
Diesel was already there.
It was already there, but okay, let me do one thing. I'll delete everything and now I try again. It's still taking only one item.
Maybe you can filter items on so that it can show all the options.
Diesel is gone. Actually, it got deleted or something. But at least the case is that for the first time, when you do, either you can come here and add possible things, but this was not allowing me to add the second item. So that's why I was trying to add through the form, but it allowed me to add the second item. It deleted the first item. So there could be some bug, or maybe this was already there. It shouldn't be deleted. But at least you got how to do it, right?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just closing this and I will go to material. So next is the field configuration information. For this reason, field configuration should be completed before field, yeah, that we read. Fields are added to forms. Any change to field that are already assigned to form can be performed on the Form Field tab. Form and fields can be modified individually or in group. When considering edit versus multi-line edit, be aware that for multi-line edit, a user can type more than the maximum amount of character in the field. Once they click outside the field, the red message appears telling them they have exceeded the maximum. For edit, users are stopped in the field when they reach the maximum number of characters. The date type cannot be used with constant value. So we need to be aware of editing individually or multi-line edit. Multi-line edit, if you try to do, there is a possibility that more than maximum amount of character user can type. So this will cause an red message. For edit, user stop. There also it's the same. Maximum number of characters reached, it gets stopped. Date type cannot be used with a constant value because date keep changing. List field. All list fields with the search helper support wildcard search. A list field will display as follows. If a field is configured as symbol list with help, the field displays with a helper that allows the user to search either by list item, text, or code. So, a list field. If a field is configured as a simple list with drop down, the field displays a maximum number of items in the drop down. If the size is greater than the maximum number, the field displays as text field with a search helper. The maximum number is 99. The sample shows the UI when the size is less than maximum number. And list field, you can add earlier, what was the question? Select the state or province. Here it is selected city. So a lot of cities will be displayed on the list. So this is a project custom field. If a field is defined as a connected list, it will display a maximum of 500 item in the connected list drop down, and it will allow user to search either by the list item text or code. This we have seen right earlier. We did this is a simple list, or else I can go to back department. This is another example. This I added earlier. Here you have three options: development, pre-sale, and sales. So in the drop-down list, you will see these three items. And if you enable the filter, you can filter the department. So this is like various departments will be there. So oh yeah, department. We don't have department. We have development search. It displays the development. When search result contains less than 500 items, any search refined will be done within the browser, preventing any database access delay. List field, sorry for the background noise. The most recently used list functionality can be enabled or disabled using a site settings. The site settings is called top value on MRU. Setting this value to 0 disable the most recently used functionality. If you are creating a field with a data type of connected list, then you must be following the caution. You must take the following caution. Connected list by definition represent the association between two or more fields. So you must configure at least two fields to be associated connected list fields. Otherwise, the employee will receive error when they are trying to use that field. If a connected list is a form, is on a form, then at least one other associated connected list field must also be on the same form or related form for copy down. If you define a field as a connected list field, you can mark any connected list field below it as read only. Okay, let's do one exercise. So
Yeah,
would you mind if I ask everybody to do the expense form change? Okay, let's do the exercise. We can do three types of exercise. One is expense form modification. Second is invoice form modification, and third one is create a list and then try to add manually as well as the form upload. Okay, got it? What I said?
Okay, can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
I was just uploading this.
Can you refresh the screen? So this is saying two list items were successfully processed. Read. So close it. I was asking you to refresh the URL. Now also it's not showing. Okay, this is a mother issue. Yeah, that's a problem. Sometimes the button is not going to act, but
Yeah,
yeah,
so
it was at least allowing me to add one.
yeah, I added, yeah, this is showing here. I added this recurring, like the expense is in recurring nature or not. So there is a
No,
checkbox.
it works. That's okay. Okay, fine.
And second one, I just added it is taxable or non-taxable. So for
Okay.
that, I wanted to import the list
Yeah.
from that Excel.
I think there is some issue in the application. That's why it's not allowing, because we are following the right pattern. So it should upload. But that's okay. So
Okay,
this is the custom fields. So can you go to the expense form?
expense form. Okay,
No, that's the expense form. That's a custom field you did earlier.
okay, sorry. Expense form.
Will come under expense type. And here you can add the new expense type. And
Hmm.
then on the right side, edit details is there, right? You scroll a little down. There you get the expense form settings.
Yeah, okay.
You can edit that. So you get an idea of what is there and how we set it up.
First, I'll have to, create this, add some
Oh,
expense, right?
okay, yeah, you can do that. Maybe you can add the expense. It's a lot available. Entertainment, dinner is there.
For staff, it's not there.
I saw, okay. So
It's for client.
category is entertainment.
Okay, I wanted to create one employee welfare. So, can I create a new category also?
No, you can't.
Oh, okay, okay.
No,
Now,
now you can save first and then click on yes. That will take you to the form. So here you can go to expense type where you can modify the business purpose at attendees, vendor, city, command.
so if I'll change here anything, it will be for all
Yeah,
expense types.
it will be for everything. This is your entertainment stuff, and you can flag expense over some on. Okay, you have added there. Okay, fine. Save. So this will be, yeah, you can update for US states. So, and those are editable, so you can make which one you feel. Yeah. No. Okay, you can save that. You can go to attendees form. Default attendee form only allowed. So first name, last name. If you want, whichever one is required, you can keep. And attendee's title is optional right now. If you want to make it required, you can do that. So this is how we do
Mhm.
changes on the expense form.
Mhm.
There are various forms available: reporting form, invoice form, header form, expense header form. Certain things we still have limitations, so we can't do. But whatever is possible, we are trying to do.
Okay. Same thing, right?
Yeah, same content. It will look different, but yeah. So it's done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I will continue with the remaining session. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, continuation of form field overview. The form field tab is used to configure fields after they have been assigned to the form. Note the following about form fields. A change made on Form Fields tab affects only the selected field on that form, and the change does not affect the default field nor any field on the another form. A change made on the Fields tab after a field has been added to a form may or may not affect the form field. If the administrator has edited the form field, a change made to the default field does not affect the form field. If the administrator has not edited the form field, is it still the same as the default field? Then a change made on the field tab will affect the form field. So form overview. This form is used in user administration to enter user details. So this is the form available for user administration to enter the user details. So for us, this might look different. Okay, I'll take you to this after going to the site. And also we have expense report header form. So this form is used to enter information about the report and may include the report name and date field. So you see here, I will just zoom a little bit. Oh, it's the same. So the screenshot is not clear, but it says that report name, policy, business purpose, report ID, employee name, report number, report date, approval status, report total, and payment status. So this is the report header. I showed out. So this is the form used to enter the single expense entry into an expense report. So these are the things we can't see the forms because only few forms are available. So new expense, the new expense form is like expense type, transaction date, business purpose, all those things. Remember, we modified in our expense form all these things. So that will be appeared on the screen. Expense detail view. So this form is used to set the column displayed in the expense section when the user select view detail on the expense report page. So if we go, say suppose I have to 411. Oh you, I'm sorry, 842411. So what was it? So we go to the expense report. Let's say we go here, open up, there are 10 open reports. Let's go there. And in the report, this is zero. Well, let's go to this. Here it says we can see the details. Yeah, report details. So you can see report header, report total, report timeline, audit trial, allocation summary, and report payment. So these all of these items have its own forms and fields. So header report is one form with its own fields. Likewise, all the other items, the other like a report total, the format will be like this: total amount, due employee, owned company, and all that. And again, it has got audit trial. We have only one received image detached. So yeah, that's what they were talking about. And it's always better to present everything so I don't have to switch between. Okay, let's get back. So this is what we discussed. Next is expense detail view. Note the following about this form type. The detail menu link will appear only if the form has been configured. The Concur expense users will see the list view by default. Concur expense approvers will see the detail view by default if it is available. The detail view column will occupy a maximum of 75% of the screen when selected. If the available expense pane is open, The detailed view will occupy a maximum of 50% on the screen. When the detailed view is selected, the view receipts in the current window functionality is not available. If the vendor description field is added to the view, the system will look for a value for the values there first, and if it does not find a value, it will check the vendor list field and display any value found there. So this is talking about how the screen will look like. Remember, this was showing 75% of the screen. The, the report header, if you select that, get displayed. So that's what it is talking about. How the view of each item, detail items, is shown. Sorry, expense attendees form.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
Used for several tasks, including creating new attendees and searching for existing attendees. The new expense tab with attendees form include the business meal expense type, requiring that the attendees must be filled out. This is something we had seen earlier. Attendees detail view. There are several places concur expense where attendee information is presented in the tables. So for example, when we try to add an expense, say suppose it's a business meal, we would have multiple users, so they are added as attendees. Okay, we wanted to try out two things. The first thing this we did. Okay, can you guys go to the detail view of an expense report and show it to me how it comes? That's very,
Expense.
yeah, in the expense report there is a section where it shows the details.
Okay.
Well,
Should I share the screen also?
yeah, yeah, please.
So just in the expense report,
Mhm.
the header items,
Where are you showing?
is it not visible?
Yeah, screen is visible, but the functionality is not shown, right?
Expense report.
This is correct. In this detail report, you don't need to select anything. This is, oh yeah, right. So every part of the report has got its own form. For us, we don't have the rights to see those forms. So we can only see all the configured field. That's what I was telling you. And actually, for expense scenario, we were able to set lot more things that will come here. Okay, tell me in the business meal, how did you add attendees?
In the business meals to add some attendees.
Already you had added attendees.
Yeah,
So can you show others how did you do that?
it was added earlier.
So above, yeah, click on attendees. There are two attendees. Okay,
Mm.
so for you, you're getting the authorization to add attendees, but I'm not getting it. That's why I was asking you to show.
Okay. Do you want me to create a new attendee?
Yeah, just add one attendee.
Okay, okay. Oh, that was sorry.
Okay, yeah, it's correct. Now create attendee. So that got added. Master Thomas, organizer
Mm.
of ABC company. Fine. And you can save it. So that's good. We don't need to create this one because we already did
Mm.
earlier, right? Once I'm going to continue with the session. So by default, information that the users see in these tables include attendees name, type, company, and title. The administrator can customize this information. Administrator can remove any of the following existing information, add any of the following: first name, last name, custom I-20, total amount previous year, total amount, YTD, that is in the format of year, time, and date, attendees count. Then cash advance form. This form is used by the end user or cash advance administrator to create a cash advance. So this is something we didn't get to see because most of the forms are not available for us to, you know, we don't have the permission basically. So car registration, actually we did add car, but like initial distance, vehicle ID, vehicle type, this we were not able to provide in the car registration. So the form is used by the employee and the user administrator with restriction to enter company or personal car that mileage expense will be claimed. Expense car form. This form has only one settings, form name. There are four fields that are required in all car forms. These fields can be relabeled. Initial distance, vehicle ID, criteria, preferred car. So those are the fields in the expense car form. Then expense allocation form. So in this expense allocation form, you this shows 1 second. I will zoom this. It provides us to allocate. So while allocating, okay, co-division is marketing, co-department is major MKTS, and so it is trying to add the division, department, region, project code, etc. And then, yeah, now I need to zoom. Tax form. So far we were looking at what this form, expense allocation form. In expense allocation form, nothing but how to allocate the expense to different division, then to department, then region and project code. Then comes the tax form. This form we can't see because tax administration we don't have the rights. This form is always to add tax related field to the new expense tab that displayed on the expense type, the country. That is possible. As a custom field, we can add the tax field, which we tried earlier, and the tax authority rules, tax and reclaim group, and employee related configuration setup using tax administration tool. So they are talking about the tax administration tool. We will be able to do everything if we had this option. For the user, it is simply means that a tax custom field will display into which they enter the data that will affect any related tax credit or debit. For example, assume the rental of a car for less than 10 days in UK means there is not tax on the rental. Then in that information would need to be specified when the report is created and expense type car rental chosen. Using the tax form in the combination with tax criteria and forms and fields tools, a tax custom field is renamed to number of rental days and display only when the car rental days and displays only when the car rental expense type is chosen. The location is within the UK. For example, this is nothing but when you try to claim the car rental, suppose you are in UK and you just use the car for 5 days, then you should not provide the tax because in UK, if it is less than 10 days, the tax is not applicable. So how this has to be added is what it is mentioned as an example. Car rental
Tax form is a separate form, right? And
yeah,
then if it is a criteria, like tax calculation is a criteria in some other form, like you said, car rental form, a car rental expense type, tax is a criteria. So these are two different forms and how it will be combined.
yeah, that will be automatically combined in by the Concur application.
Okay.
So we don't need to worry if we have tax administration in place, that field will be automatically added. Otherwise, we can manually add a custom field.
Okay.
You remember that, right? I showed earlier there was a custom field. I think it will be here, or should I remove, or did I remove?
Yeah, there was a field. I was thinking that while while filling the tax form, how it will be shown. If there is some car rental expense type, and there in future there is another expense type where this tax would be, applied. Then
So then how it works is it takes Canada and UK. Say
hmm,
example mostly. So in Canada there is two section. One is the country and one is the province. So you
hmm,
will have two types of tax. I think GST and HST. HST is the harmonized. That is the both
hmm,
mixed
hmm,
tax, whereas in UK it is VAT. So
hmm.
what will happen is depending upon the country which we chose, the field will get displayed in the expense type.
Okay,
So there
okay.
will be an additional field like I can show for example, if I go to expense.
In the same form, we will choose different options based on the requirement.
No, we don't need to choose any option. It will be available if the
Okay.
tax administration is there. Since we don't have it, it is not showing. But what I could do, I could show you an example how we can have a field for tax is by actually I had earlier a field called
So I'm just trying to ask, there are for different expense type, we have different forms. We can set up those
no no
and the custom field would be visible. But for the tax form, it
yeah
it
it
will be combined with different expense type. So
yeah
I think you can understand.
the tax form is available and you filled everything. However, the tax form when get attached to the expense is based upon the country. So that's why I was giving you the example of the UK and the Canada.
Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah. Is
Okay,
that
that is
clear?
fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is an example of what it's about. For example, yeah, 10 days case in this number of rental days. So this is an example where in our case in car rental in U when we suppose we travel to UK and we travel is just 8 days. So you can provide number of days to avoid the tax because there is no tax applicable for less than 10 days in UK. That's what it showed. And the next one is form configuration consideration. So what all thing we need to consider while we configure the form. Below are the key facts to consider when planning a strategy for deploying all expense related forms. There is no physical limitation on how many forms you can deploy in the implementation because we have seen so many forms, right? Everything they have their own forms. So there is no physical limitation. You can assign expense related forms to policies, not to the group. So when you have the expense related form, it can be attached to the policy. There are two different policies we created. One is the executive policy, second one is the general policy. Each expense type has an expense entry form associated. So in order to enter the expense related information, we already have an expense form. So that is attached to the expense type. A single expense entry form can be assigned to one or more expense types. So single entry form is always common for multiple types, right? So that the same form can be used for multiple types. Every policy has one assigned report header form. So that we had seen the header form. Single report header form can be assigned to one or more policies. Form configuration consideration. Below are the key facts to consider when planning a strategy for deploying the employee form. There is no physical limitation on how many employee form you can deploy in the implementation. You can assign employee form to groups, not policies, because employees are always assigned to a group, not a policy. That is a it's understandable scenario. You can assign one employee form to each hierarchical group, which can be used further down the hierarchy. So say suppose in an organizational unit, you can add each employee at various organizational level in the hierarchy. Then we are going to see the conditional field overview. Conditional fields are available for report header field and expense entry field. So this is basically for report header as well as the entry field. Example of conditional fields: assume that a checkbox appears on the expense report header. If the user checks the box indicating yes, then the second field, a list, appears. The user select the appropriate client name from the list. If the user does not select these expense client related checkbox, the second field does not appear. Sorry. So that's about the conditional fields. It's talking about the in the expense entry and the header. Next is overview of the business purpose and client benefit. This feature allows client to design cleaner, dynamic, easy to follow form. This feature can be used to reduce unused field on expense entries and expense report. So say suppose we in the form we have certain fields which are not necessarily be used in our expense entry or expense report. In that scenario, we can allow client to design a cleaner, dynamic, easy to follow form. Though a similar outcome can be accomplished with audit rules, those rules are generally triggered when the user saves the report or entry. So basically, if there is a condition needs to be checked, these conditions we set it in the audit rule, and only this is applicable while we click on the save of the report or entry. The user then return to the report or entry and complete the appropriate field. With conditional field, the user completes the appropriate field immediately. So for example, end user experience, what you see here is that create new report, a report name, a policy, a report date. Okay, so this is the form. So there is a checkbox for the customer ID. This is customer ID client related. So this wasn't there in a normal scenario. So they added in the form. If the user select the checkbox, the client name field appears. So there is a condition specified. I click here, then automatically client name get displayed. This part is clear, right? Client name list is there. You can pick from that. And for the company, if the user select Bailey International, third field appears from W. So here the payment method for the Bailey International is displayed. So overview, restrictions and consideration. Currently condition fields can be used only for these forms types, especially expense report header, expense entry cannot be used with connected list custom fields. So these it is mentioned that restrictions and considerations are applicable to these forms. If you guys have any question, please ask me. I can help you out.
I think it's clear.